I think the most common thing that is happening for us small business owners that we aren't talking about is that you can definitely be busy and broke. I was there. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. You're not broke. You just don't know how to manage your money. You don't have good money skills. You don't know how to handle your finances. And it's okay, because I was there too, especially as a small business owner. I feel like there are so many things that we aren't taught when it comes to money. And it is a difference between personal money skills and business money skills. Let's get into it. I think that to a certain extent, I was taught money skills, but I was taught personal finances. And not really even. I would say that I was taught to save my money, but it gets to a point. It gets to a point where you need to know when to spend money too. So let's bring it back to when I first started my business. I'm going to give y'all the hiccups and the things that I want you to avoid in your first year. Number 1, you need to make a plan. You need to write down your finances first, because you have to fund your business. You have to do it. Unless you have a family member or a partner, significant other, somebody else who's going to fund the startup, you have to do it. 9 times out of 10, you have a 9-to-5 right now, and you're going to be having to budget that money, which it may seem like, girl, I don't have enough money as is. How am I going to budget money to start up a business? You can do it, because I did it. So you need to make a plan. Whatever business you want to start, whether that's, if you're in the beauty industry, for example, like I am a nail tech. I would write down everything I need, necessities that I need to start my nail business. For example, these are not necessities. Nail charms, decorations. When I say necessities, I mean, okay, you're going to need a nail desk. So furniture, you're going to need a nail desk. You're going to need a chair for yourself. You're going to need a chair for your clients. You're going to need an LED UV light. You're going to need some monomer. You're going to need some acrylic. You're going to need some gel polish. You're going to need an acrylic brush. Those are necessities. I think one of my biggest hiccups was I dished out so much money on supplies that I didn't need in the beginning. And I was wondering why I didn't have anything left, y'all. I didn't have nothing left, okay? One of the biggest things that I didn't take into account when starting my business was you have to plan for that withdrawal period. I call it a withdrawal period, okay? That's the startup time that you're not making any money. You're just dishing out. You don't have any clients. You don't have any income coming in from the business. You are just dishing out money to start it up. You have to account for that time. So if you're sitting here spending unnecessary funds on things that you're not going to use for months down the line, you're not doing nothing for yourself, okay? Make a list, make a budget. You may not be able to buy everything in the beginning, and that's totally fine, okay? You may not be able to start with a whole collection of acrylics and whole collection of gels, and that is fine. I will always recommend buying your cover powders first, okay? Cover powders, no color acrylics. Buy you a nude, a pink, a clear, and a white acrylic. Those are four acrylics. I will make sure I have white polish, black polish, and just like popular colors, like maybe pink, purple. Like when I say start off with the bare necessities, that's what I mean. I'm so shameful to say this, but I'm going to tell y'all. I have been doing nails for about almost 5 years now, and I have only had a business checking and savings account for maybe a year now. And the reason I feel like I still probably wouldn't have had a business checking and savings if I wouldn't have got a mentor. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, getting a mentor really changed my life, but y'all, the junk is expensive to have one. I could not afford to have a mentor at the beginning, so I hope that this video reaches someone who is starting up so that you can avoid making these same mistakes. And if you can't afford a mentor, I understand. If you have any questions, y'all, let me know, because I know how it feels to be in that position. Make sure you get a business checking, 2 of them actually, and I'm going to explain why. 2 business checking accounts and a business savings account, okay? Reason being, you need to separate your money, okay? You want to have one business checking where all your funds come in. You're going to keep funds in here for re-upping on supplies, paying your suite rent, whatever, or just whatever you have to pay for your business. If you have a graphic designer, whatever you have to pay for when it comes to your business, you want to have a business checking account for that. Your second business checking account is going to be for taxes. Y'all, do not skip this step. Y'all, do not skip this step, okay? You want to have a separate checking account just for taxes. When it's time to file them taxes, y'all, and you don't do this, you're going to remember this video. You're going to remember me telling you, and you're going to wish you did, okay? I'm going to explain to you how you're going to do that also. Lastly, you want to have a business savings account, okay? This is totally separate from your own personal savings. Your business money is different from your personal money, you guys, okay? Completely different. If you want to have your business accounts at a whole separate bank, that's fine. I have mine at the same bank, but it's my bank separates the two into like two different online banking account things. Make sure you have them separate, okay? I didn't realize the importance of this, and I want to tell you guys that if you don't have it separated, I feel like my business would have awarded me a lot more if I would have done this way back. In order to get a business checking and savings account, the only two things you need is your business EIN and your LLC filed with your state. That's all you need. And of course, your identification, social security card, and your driver's license. Go ahead and get those things in order so you can get your accounts. Please. I pay myself every week from doing nails. Every time I pay myself, I also put money in my tax account and my savings. Do all three at the same time. That way you're not putting more money here than there, and you're not missing anything. Do it all together. Pay yourself, put money in your tax account, and put money in your savings. When you pay yourself, you need to make sure you're accounting for the money that you want to also put in your personal savings, because like I said, they're different. They're different. Y'all, don't skip this step, please. When it comes to credit, I knew nothing. My mom, I'm not going to say she didn't teach me about credit, but the only thing she taught me was don't mess up your credit. That's what she told me. And I feel like that's not really teaching a person about credit. Really what you did was you scared me about credit, okay? Credit doesn't have to be a scary thing. I messed up my credit. Not messed it up. I didn't mess it up, but I got credit cards that I shouldn't have, and ultimately it's set me back, okay? I had to do some fixing later on. I remember my mom told me, get you a little credit card and just use it for gas or whatever like that. I didn't know how to really go about getting a credit card in my bank, or like what the qualifications were, or like if I was eligible. Didn't know none of that. Mind you, I'm 18 at the time. I'm a freshman in college, and I'm just like hearing everybody talk about like their credit cards. I'm like, I don't have one. So y'all know who's always throwing credit cards in our face? The stores. I got a credit card with Forever 21, big no-no. Sally's Beauty, which I really don't know why. Honestly, I think that I got a card with Sally's because I went to the store to get something, and they got me by saying like, oh, we'll give you extra 30% off if you get a credit card. And mind you, I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to get credit cards. So I ended up getting a credit card with them. And I also got a credit card with Victoria's Secret. Big no-nos. I remember spending maybe $60 in Forever 21 on that credit card. $60. That balance got over $400, even with me paying the minimum payment every month. Now, mind y'all, I'm working a regular little 9 to 5. I have not started my business yet. I don't have all that money to be paying. So I'm just paying my minimum payment, not knowing how crazy the interest were on these cards, y'all. It's ridiculous. I kept paying. The bill was never going down, y'all. The bill kept going up. And mind you, at this time, I'm not knowing anything about none of this. And I was too ashamed to ask my mom, because I remember she told me not to do stuff like this. But, y'all, eventually, I stopped paying. I'm going to be honest. I stopped paying it. They sent it to collections, and I ended up paying the collection company the balance later on. Another no-no. Because once you pay collections, They don't take it off your credit. You have to dispute it and all that kind of stuff. So I had to go through that whole process. In order to get business funding or business credit, your personal credit has to be in order. Duh. If you are looking to get business funding, I'm going to link down below who helped me and who gave me all the steps to get my personal credit in order, the qualifications. To name a few, I believe it's like you have to have a credit card with at least like a $7,000 limit on it. You have to have no negative inquiries on your credit. It's a few things. I'm going to link his stuff in the description box below, so that you can know what you have to do to get your personal credit in order to be eligible to get business credit through these banks and stuff like that. Another thing I recommend is that the credit cards that you do get and apply for, try to apply for credit cards with, good standing banks, well-known banks, because it's better to have a relationship with those whenever it's time to apply for your business funding than just like, the small credit union. So I would say, like, if you're able to get an account with Navy Federal, Chase, Capital One, those kind of banks, I would say get credit cards with your personal, so that whenever it's time to apply for your business funding and they're looking at you, they're like, okay, if these banks trust them, these are, credible banks, then, they must be legit. When it comes to loans in your first year of business, I did not get any loans my first year of business. I honestly haven't got any loans yet for my business. I got personal loans to help build my credit when I was going through that process I just mentioned to y'all. But when you set up your booking site, if you take payments through like PayPal and Square, when you build a relationship with those type of third-party companies, are they third parties? Well, when you build a relationship with those companies, they will see the amount of money that's coming through. So all your deposits that are coming through, when you let your clients pay through card on Square, they see all the money that's rolling in. And when it's on a consistent basis, they will be like, okay, they're making enough money, we're going to offer them a loan. So Square will offer you loans based on how much money they see you pulling in. Not against this. If you want to get a business loan, it's a great way to help build your credit. If you want to use that to maybe like re-up on supplies, things like that, just make sure that you're in a position that you're able to pay this back, because you don't want to ruin your business credit before you even get started. Okay? So keep that in mind. I think a big question I also get is, how did I manage my finances in my first year of business? And I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't. I didn't have the correct setup. I didn't have my LLC. I didn't have anything in order. I just was running on the vibes, okay? I mean, to be fair, I was working in my college dorm. I did have a booking site, but that's all I had, okay? So as far as finances, I was basically just saving my money, just saving enough to be able to put up for my personal use, and then to also just re-up on my products. I didn't have many overhead costs, so I think that's also something to keep in mind, because I was working from home and the only thing I was really paying for was my products. So I didn't manage my money, and that's a bad thing, because like I said, I feel like if I would have started off the correct way from the beginning, my business would have awarded me a lot more, even though it has. It's funded so many things for me. If I would have done it the correct way, I would see a lot more fruits of my labor. But you live and you learn. That's why I'm here. I hope that you take these gems that I dropped in this 20-minute video and you put it to use. This is valuable information that I did not have, that you now have. So you have no excuses. None. I want to make sure that I let you guys know, if you have any questions, y'all, feel free to DM me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, okay? Because when I was in your position, I already had so many questions, but I didn't have anyone around me that was doing what I was doing, or that I felt like would even be willing to give out the information, because most people want you to pay for it, which I understand, because it's like I have dedicated all this time to figuring this out, trial and error, and it's like now you want it for free. I get it. But if you have any questions, y'all, let me know. Let me know. If you made it to the end of this video, comment finances, because I want to see who is listening, who is taking notes. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what other videos y'all would like me to drop about business, about anything really. Y'all know I dibble and dab in a lot of different things. So like I said, make sure y'all let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to comment finances, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.